Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I've come to show you how I did this layout. I don't have much on it except for I was going to go to a movie on Tuesday with my daughter, but we might not be going because we're expecting snow on that day, so that's an iffy. But I had some questions on the borders of this. Now what I did was I used this here stamp set, and it is called Steampunk, and it's from Hot Off the Press. This is the number code here, HOTP 11, and you can read the numbers. I think it's 93, and you get 22 of the stamps. And I've used this stamp here up in the corner, up here and down here, but I've only used pieces of it, so I just did the top, the bottom half here, and then did a portion of it on here over on this side. I used this one here down at the bottom. This little light bulb is over here. The key that's up here is on this side. These light bulbs are the ones that are hanging down. The little gear pieces are spread out through the rest of it, and this one up here are both used on there also. This is the little phrase that I stuck in there down here. And what I'll do is I'll show you how I did the layout, and I'll ink it up for you. So I will set up for that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I'm going to show you, this is the layout prior to doing anything to it. Everything's blank. I use Alton Dreamer's script date stamp to put the dates in on my planner, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to show you how I do the border. So I use archival ink in sepia. The yellow one is the pale ochre, and then the reddish tones are the sienna. And the bluish green that I did around the outside is on tumble glass, and I will do that also. And I usually do this with a Tim Holtz sheet underneath it, but for the stamping I'm just going to use a regular piece of paper, and I'm going to do one page at a time. So I'll start with this side. This is how I put the stamp on the block, and I'm only going to use the bottom half of this for the top corner up here, so I'm only going to ink the bottom half of that. I usually just leave the 3 inks open so I can choose my colors when I want them. And I have a little pad, or not pad, but these are the, when I do my pages and I print them out, I have extra pieces, and I use these to wipe off the stamp if I wanted to use, like on this one, I used the bottom half in the dark brown, and then I cleaned it off on this, and then I used this portion of it in the yellow, so then I could just ink up this without taking them off the block. And I just stamped the excess ink off of here. Okay, so we will go ahead and we'll ink up the bottom half of the stamp. And I have it on a piece of paper to catch any of the extra that I'm going to have here, and I didn't get it all inked yet. Okay, there we go, and we're just going to set it over here, get the light bulb in kind of off the top. Then you'll see why I have the paper down, is so when I remove it I just get the top portion of that stamp. I'm not dirtying my desk with the rest of that. Then I just go over to the paper and stamp off the rest of the ink, and then I have a clean stamp again. I have to move it down a little to get the ochre on this side, so I just stamp up this portion of the stamp and then decide where I want to put it. Down here, and then just add it down on that side. And then I will put put a couple more pieces here. So we're gonna take that stamp off, get another block, and we're going to use the swirl. Swirl is going to go down on the bottom in the yellow, so just about here. And I think a little bit up at the top, but just a tiny bit. So I'm going to angle it a little different so you get a little bit of a curl here. And so far that's what that looks like. I need to get some of the gears down here. And I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to put it on the block. And then I'll be turning it and twisting it when I do the inking. So it has a little swirl on this side, and then it's got extra gears on this side. And I want the swirl to show up on this side. So I'm going to ink it up with the sienna, which is the redder tone. And just stick it right there. I like to get the side of the paper. A little sequin came over. My weekends aren't that busy, so I can go in a little further, but you could always set it off to the side if you wanted to. Then I want a dark brown on this corner. And what I'm going to do is bring in the other paper because they sit side to side. And I'm going to stamp them so they get the same color on it. This one is a little tricky. I stamped it before and I didn't get this corner. So I'm going to stamp it like this on this one. And then I have an idea of where I'm going to put it on this side. And I'm going to turn it around and do the other portion on this side. So we'll just curl it that way. So now when they go together, it looks like you did it all at once, but you didn't. Okay, and we're going to add, there's a swirl over here on my other page, so I guess I'll have to put that back on. Wipe that out on my paper. And then get the swirl back. It was the bigger of the two. And this in brown down here. So right in the corner. And there we go. And I'm going to want some more little gears, but I'll use the little gears on those. And then I will put a dark swirl while I have that on here, on the corner up here. Okay, and I believe I put a little one. It's got to be the littler of the two. Just trying to find the right stamps that I used on the other one. This is the smaller of the swirl. It's got a little gear on here, so that's what I used on the bottom down here. And we'll angle it that way. Whoops. Well, that's okay. I'm going to leave that and show you what I do with that when I make mistakes. Because I use different color inks, I can probably use a red or a yellow on that and get it so it doesn't look like a big boo-boo. Okay, we got the light bulb. And I only do half of the light bulb on this too. And it was right about here. So we'll get it nice and inked up and put it there. And then the lights. This was kind of fun to do. These are going to be done. They're try to get it straight on the line, but if you don't, you just have to get it straight on the paper up here. So I inked it up, and one's going to be long and one's going to be short. So I'm going to stick this one right about here. And then I use this one. It's hard to get them on this thing. It's okay, as long as it's straight-ish. So I want it longer, want it hanging down. So I'm going to do it here. And then because I want the chain going all the way up to the top of the page, all I did was turn it around and line up the chain and draw it up at the top. So that's the light bulbs hanging down. And then we're going to want the little gears that we have in this set. And I'm going to do those in the red. So we're going to add a couple up here at the top. And over here in the corner. And then down here. And we're going to add one here because we made that mess. I'm going to try to cover that up a little. So the gears work nice there. Then on the other page, we're going to do the same, add some at the top. Down here. Just turn the stamp around and you get different designs because it's got 3 gears on it. There's also a really cute butterfly with a clock. And I'm going to stick him down here in the red. And I have another little butterfly that we're going to add in a dark brown. So he's just a little guy, he's going to fly up here. And I did the same little butterfly over here. And then I'll add some gears hanging off of him. And I have to fix this up a little bit more. So there's another set of gears here. I'm going to put some and yellow up here. Just kind of stick them around where you think you need some yellow. That's all I did. And some up here. Don't want to get it on the other page. Okay, if you notice, I did a little inking here with the little under the butterfly, and it didn't come out quite right, so I'm going to just ink up a single gear and stick it right in the spot where it didn't quite cover. Do it in the same ink, and it covers it up nicely, and then I will go ahead and add a couple of the small gears in the yellow tone on both sides of that. If you notice that I am narrating this section because the camera somehow messed up the voicing on this, so I'm sorry about that. So I'm just going to put a couple of gears on there, and then I can use the gear stamp to just put around the page any spots of the yellow that I just think that are bare and need a little splash of color. Also, that little place that I messed up, I'm going to add some of that yellow too. Sorry you can't see that part. I didn't know I was out of focus until I started watching this. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the blue around the edges. So I'm going to put away these inks, and I will use the Distress ink, but I need to get out the Tim Holtz sheet that I put underneath it that's keep the ink from getting on my desk, and it cleans up really nicely. And I will be using the tumbled glass distress ink. It has a nice kind of a greenish tint to it, which looks really nice with the browns. And I will put the mat underneath, keep my desk clean, and I'm going to be using a sponge because I don't have a blue pad for my Tim Holtz Distress tool. I have one in brown but not in blue, so I'm just going to use a sponge. Works just the same, and you just kind of start off on the mat and bring the blue in to the corners. I love the way this blue turned out with the colors of ink that I chose. And I'm just going to take it around gently around the edges to add a little color to it. And ink it a little darker around the corners. And what's nice, if you mess up with your inking like I did on the side, not saying you guys will, but I obviously did because you watched me do it, the blue ink will actually help camouflage any of those little imperfections. And I only go up a little bit, leaving the middle of this page empty because I wanted a cleaner look on this setup. So just going around the edges on both pages. I'm letting you see in slow motion how I do that. So again, I'm just going to go around. And this is the area here where I messed up, where I dropped it, and you can barely tell. So that's what I mean when I don't fret over too much. If I make a boo-boo, I know I can fix it up so it looks good enough for me. It's my planner, so it's not going to get me all upset and make me start over. So I've left enough room, I hope, at the top up at the boxes to put my stamps in for the dates and the days of the week. Tried to leave those clean enough. So there I am, just going to finish up this edge here, and that is how you do the page. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing these every week. I'm glad you guys like seeing them. This is a round sponge that I just cut in quarters. You can get it at any art supply store. And that is it. I'm glad you guys watched. Give it a try. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye now.